My name is Nina Hastie, and in this episode of Otherwise You Well, we are chatting to a friend of mine. Her name is Karina Miota, and Karina is the author of a book called Changemakers, The Courage to Transform the World, which is not yet in English. It is still in Portuguese. It was released in Brazil and Portugal. Her journey began in 2006, and when she left her career behind as a journalist in Sao Paulo, and then she moved to the Amazon rainforest. There, she leads this team of reporters across 9 countries. She works with Greenpeace and Amazon Watch and organized TEDx events before being invited twice by TED themselves to their global conferences. And then she experienced burnout because, I just got tired reading that. So Karina turned her focus to healing and to regeneration, which is actually where I'm at right now. I just got my cortisol results. I'm in burnout, full-blown burnout. And so maybe she'll share some information on that. And now she's been training for deep ecology and the work that reconnects with Joanna Macy, and completing her master's in holistic science at Schumacher College with Satish Kumar and Stephen Harding. And today she mentors visionary changemakers around the world, including myself, curates speakers for international events such as the Global Health Summit, where we met, and contributes to Resurgence and Ecologist magazine. Karina believes the future depends on uniting information with inspiration and reconnecting emotionally with the earth. Please welcome Karina Miota. Hello, my friend.
Thank you. What an introduction. Oh my God.
It's a lot of information, but it's so much information about you.
I love it. Well done.
How are you feeling today?
Today, I'm feeling relieved and well today, one day at a time.
You're feeling relieved? Why?
I think because I worked so much. It was, such a hard work and beautiful work, not only for the event that we met, but other things as well. And I learned after my burnout that I have to recharge, recalibrate, and give myself time before embarking on another journey.
Burnout is, this is probably my, I don't know how many times burnout. Like I feel like I'm living from burnout to burnout, my cortisol is, I think, at 140. It's supposed to be, I think, 300. But yeah, my hair started falling out again, and it just seems to be like this pattern of like, how do we then really truly reconnect? How do we truly prioritize ourselves? So what I think I'd like to do with you today is I actually just want to get to know, this is the work that you do. Yes, you do this and you understand burnout and you understand regeneration and you're working on regeneration and you've done all of these things. But I want to know who Karina is, and I'd like to get to know her. So let me ask you a basic question. So you're faced with a challenge. Do you first turn to your head, to your heart, or to your gut? When faced with a challenge, what is the center that you find first?
Heart, no doubt.
Heart.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Heart and gut, I think. It starts with the heart and then go to guts and then to the mind.
What's the most recent decision that you made from your heart?
It was a decision related to where I feel happier. So I was living in Spain, and when I moved to Spain, I was like, okay, this is the last country I'm moving to. I'm done. But then I came to Portugal, and I felt really happier here, and I connected with nature, and I connected with community in a way that my soul was needing. So I took a deep breath and decided to move again to Portugal, 7th country I'm moving to. And despite all the tiredness that involves moving countries, I decided to come, and this decision came from my heart. And it was the latest, I think, big decision I've made.
Each one of these organs drives you, it drives you. And I think if you ignore the organ that you're supposed to use intuitively, like your natural organ, you're going to suffer. So I'm glad that you followed your heart. I'm really glad that you followed your heart. I want to ask you, are you more energized by standing on a stage sharing your vision, or sitting quietly underneath a tree listening?
Both, I guess. I think I need, because when we when we know we have something to say and to share, once we go through experiences where we are like, okay, I went through this and I have to share this with other people because this may help others, then it's very, very energizing to be on a stage in a place of service, sharing our experiences and what we've gone through. And when we go under a tree and sit on the ground and touch the earth and connect with the earth and connect with the tree in a state of deep listening, it's also absolutely re-energizing. So I think that one situation is like receiving energy from the earth herself, to be able to step on stage and to be able to actually live. So connecting with nature is, I think, survival skill for me, but also sharing what I've learned is is something that gives me a deep sense of purpose.
I mean, I think that a lot of the burnout management lives in the space of balancing those two things, right? I'm inspired and I'm creating, and to find the I'm expressing and I'm creating, but I'm also being inspired, so sort of finding that management between those. I find in my own work, when I'm not performing and I'm just handling, like, for example, this last month has literally just been administration, doctor's appointments, accountants, lawyers, uh, taxes, like the most boring stuff, but stuff that I haven't done for like 5 years worth of admin. I had to take everything in my like downloads folder and put it into a filing system, like just like stuff that is so extremely boring, but because it had to be done. It was almost like my body burnt out at the same time, so that I was forced to stay at home and do this boring stuff that had to be done. So it's almost as if like energetically my burnout was timed with my like spiritual burnout. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, it does. Because I don't know, I think that in my experiences, when we have a burnout, there's not much that we can do actually. Like we have to manage our levels of energy, take it slow, take it easy, and maybe it's when it's time to do the boring stuff. And I think it all depends on the level or like where the burnout has hit you most. Like for me, it was very emotional, for example. When I lived in the Amazon rainforest and worked in the Amazon, like it was very much under the traumatic spot and emotional. So I didn't want to have nothing to do with environmental activism for a while because for me, emotionally, it was very draining. And when people ask me nowadays, like, would you be back to the rainforest to live there? No way, because I don't have the emotional capacity to do it. So this means that, okay, as we have to keep functioning in life, what my system is able to do and to deal with when I am recovering or even under a process of burnout. So maybe doing the boring stuff is the easiest way to keep functioning when you have a burnout that it's highly traumatic and emotionally exhausting. So for me, for example, when I had my burnout, I was like, okay, no more working with environmental anything for a while, and I didn't know for how long. Then I transitioned from the environmental field to the social one. Okay, doing social media, working for a different organization and doing something that didn't really require me to be there emotionally. So I totally understand you when you have to just stay, for a while at home or doing your own stuff and things that you normally wouldn't. And I think this is self-respect. Maybe boring,
Ooh,
on one
that's
side, and yeah. So on one side, maybe very boring. Okay, I didn't want to be doing this. This is not who I really am. But taking it slow and doing this is self-respect, my friend. That's how I see it.
I think self-respect is I relate. I think that's exactly the correct term, because as I've sort of been putting myself back together, I've kind of gone, because I had to do a lot of forgiveness of myself for in that time that I was like running around doing all of these things because I was trying to solve certain elements of my life, that I felt I neglected other parts, my health, my energy, but also like administrative stuff that I'd neglected. So as I'm sort of putting these things back together, like I feel like I'm honoring myself again and going, okay, you know what, little Nina? So, not all of your taxes were done in 2024. Yeah, it's okay. You are not the world's worst person. Okay, well done, little Nina. You didn't take your vitamin D supplements. You're not the world's worst person. Little Nina, you felt, you didn't do X, Y, and Z because your priority was something else. So there's a lot of like self-respect in going, just acknowledging what the priority was and going, okay, even just reframing that, like, oh, my priority for the last 3 years was getting my career back on track, not on making sure that my waistline was small or whatever the case of the thing is. So if you can like forgive yourself for whatever it is and have the self-respect of putting yourself back on track. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Because probably there is a pattern between everyone who burns out, which is, I don't know, maybe lots of self-criticism. Maybe we think we are superheroes. Maybe we push boundaries, our boundaries. We push our own boundaries all the time, and like working way more than what we should, and being emotionally involved and all of that. So I think that once we um, realize that, and the burnout is so strong, right? We cannot forget that we had a burnout. I think burnout is the opposite of an orgasm, right? Once we have an orgasm, we know we had it. And once we had an orgasm, right? Yeah, it's the opposite. So once we have an orgasm, we know it. It's like it's not a maybe, it's 100%. We know we had an orgasm. It's the same with burnout. We know when we had a burnout. And and saying this, like, okay, little Nina, okay, little Karina, it's good, it's fine, take it easy, it's fine. Wow, I think we learn to love ourselves better after a burnout. We learn how to listen to ourselves. That's why I said, when you ask, how are you feeling now? I'm like, oh, now I'm feeling okay. Now I'm better. Why? Yeah, because I've worked a lot. I gave lots of my energy, and now I need to recover before engaging in another thing that it's going to require lots of my energy. In the past time, I wouldn't do that. In the past, I would be like just leaving one situation where I had to give lots of energy for a job or whatever, and then jumping on one and keep going, keep going. No, now I give myself a break. I have to, and I'm okay with that. And I think this is, when we mature and when we learn how to slowly to love ourselves better, a little bit more every day. So I see what you do as an act of self-love, as I see, myself needing to take a break as an act of self-love. And I think this is very necessary. Otherwise, we're going to have burnouts again, and we don't want that.
Listen, I when I met Karina, we met in Slovenia at this global health summit, and she was my handler, my coach, taking me from somebody that was booked to do this comedy and actually craft my set to make it work for 1,000 delegates from 89 different countries who are all there, different ages, different races, different religions, different levels of education or like responsibility, like, and all very interesting people. And how was I going to take this comedy set and make it applicable to everyone? And Karina held my hand with the other team, but you were my main handler of running this material by her. Now, it was a short set, 8 to 10 minutes of comedy to 1,000 people. But for us who had never met one another before, you had to get into my brain, you had to get into my heart, and I had to get into your brain, into your heart, with our different skill sets and understandings, and to try and tell a funny story on stage. But you're a storyteller, you're also a strategist. Uh, what would you describe yourself more as a strategist, as a storyteller, or as a soul guide? Where is your purpose feeling at the moment?
I love that. Can it be a little bit of each?
Yes. Yes, it can. Because it is,
Yeah,
because I'm also all those things. I'm a creative director
yeah.
and a comedian and a writer and I'll MC a function, but then tomorrow I'm dressed up and making jokes about something dressed as a Nazi. Like we're allowed to be all of these things.
We don't have to be fragmented. When people ask me, "Oh, what do you do?" I say, well, I coach change makers, I coach speakers, like blah, 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 environmentalists and deep ecologists and teacher, and that's okay. I think that this need of fragmentation doesn't come from our generation. Maybe it comes from a mentality of suppression, especially over women. So yes, we are everything, and we're cool about being all of that. And if others cannot understand, not our business.
I saw a reel where someone was explaining the nature of, the Instagram algorithm changing to something that is more interest based. So, say for example, if I'm on my page, I'm offering information about wellness, but then I'm telling jokes, but then I'm talking about perimenopause, but then I'm talking about career, then I'm making a impression of a middle-aged woman having a panic attack in the middle of the whatever the case is. All of those things are appeal to different people at different times. So they're saying like your offering should be not niche, because we're not niche and because people want more than one thing at the same time. And the more I lean into me, the more I go, oh, I am all of these many things, and I'm going to be which one of them I feel like being today. And I'm going to strategize that according to my energy level and what I can achieve. Also perimenopause, we've only got so much energy in the day. So I'm stingy with my energy. Like I don't want to give it to something that's not meaningful, And if I want to use that energy to watch my K-dramas and like relax and do nothing, that's also something I'm allowed to give my energy to. But I want to ask you, do you thrive in that maze of many things, or do you thrive in a more cultivated, calm, okay, cool, for the next 3 months I'm going to do storytelling, and for the next 3 months after that, like where do you thrive more, you personally?
I think that there is like a story that it's told in different things that we do. So, for example, I have one line, a guideline, a story, a main story, which is the earth, the earth. And I have to myself that my purpose is to support regenerative culture on earth. How? Many different ways. And I have many different ways of doing this. So when I am preparing, a speaker to go on stage, it's always a change maker, and I only coach change makers because I think this is going to be good for the earth. Or when I'm talking about deep ecology, I'm doing because I know it's going to be good to the earth. Or when I am, mentoring someone or sharing a story about myself in nature somewhere, I have the earth as, the earth has my back. The earth is behind everything I do, and it's the focus of all that I do. So it doesn't matter if I choose to speak, one day I'm speaking about, um, I don't know, about my connection to the trees, and then on the other day I'm sharing about feeling empowered to share your own story, or on the other day I'm teaching deep ecology online, because they all have a main goal, which is to protect our planet. So for me, although I keep changing the things that I say and things that I do, the way I express myself on my social media, on even LinkedIn or whatever in life, with all that I do, is like, yes, as I am a little bit of all of this, I'm going to share a little bit of all of this. But my goal, my purpose, what drives me forward is, am I provoking a beautiful impact in the world? Am I helping, supporting the Earth's regenerative systems? Am I being in service to that? It doesn't need to be me directly, but for example, when we worked together and you were on that stage helping, 1,000 change makers from 89 countries to laugh at themselves, it was absolutely profoundly healing. And when I see that, I'm like, yes, yes, because I see what you did as something that impacted the world in a very systemic way. Complex systems, systemic. Yes, what you did is like a ripple effect. You helped people that are helping the world in all of its aspects, that it's supporting Gaia's regenerative systems in all of its aspects, like laughing at themselves, which is what we need to do more often, because the world is very, this part of the world is very serious. Like, we're dealing with problems. Change makers, they are here to work to provide solutions and create a better world, which is not an easy task. So you see what I mean? It's like, okay, so when I share that I am, I coached Nina and I helped her to give this talk, for me is, wow, I'm by your side. I'm helping you to do something that I totally believe in. You know what I mean? So it doesn't need to be fragmented, not even in the way we expose ourselves, because we have a purpose behind and on the front of us. And this doesn't change.
Say that again.
And this doesn't change. The way we decide to show up and to show this changes. The clothes that we hear and that we use, and in the sense, I'm saying this in the sense of like the how we decide to talk about ourselves or talk about the things that we do or like, are just the doorway to something much deeper, which is the purpose, which is what moves us forward. Make sense?
100%. 100%. The zeitgeist of energy, of ideas, and where we're at the moment, like the fact that we're wearing the same color and the same lipstick by mistake, that we're in the same energy, even though the seasons are different. I'm in the southern hemisphere, you're in the northern hemisphere. It's getting a little bit warmer now, it's getting a little bit colder where you are. I've just come out of winter, you're just coming out of summer. But the idea is, I spoke to a healer this morning and we were talking about this healing modality and about just being connected to the consciousness, and that everything that we're trying to do is to try and respect the communication of this consciousness. And essentially, everybody has different ways of approaching this thing, but at the end of the day, we're all trying to communicate with this one thing. So what's happening is, so otherwise you well is supposed to be just a comics approach to well-being, right? And talking to different people about their well-being and how they go about finding solutions for people, not necessarily the actual solutions, but showing people what a conversation can look like. But as we're going deeper down the rabbit hole, I'm revealing more of the things that I'm into, and the more things that I'm into, I'm revealing these people that are on these very deep levels doing very deep work to the world. And as I'm doing this, I always thought, if I truly share the type of work that I do, people are going to think I'm crazy. Like people are going to be like, oh, she's one of those crazy people, the Palo Santo burning, witch talking, universe universal energy healing, communication centered, the earth answers, body aura. Like
Safe
I am
container.
that. I am the safe container. I am this person. And it is so funny. The more I like show that part of myself to the world, the more I realize so many other people are operating like this. So many other people are operating. And not everybody has the same lyrics to this song, but we're all singing the same song at the end of the day. People into this world, some through their religion, some through medicine, some through art, some through craft, some through life and struggle and just figuring it out, and finding their own words for it. But this is an ancient journey and we're all on it. We're all on this ancient journey. We're close to the end of humanity's journey on this thing. So we might as well start sharing our secrets and showing our cards, you know?
Yeah, I know.
Do I sound
I
crazy?
know. I know. No, no. For example, something that I've decided to do on my book, I shared openly on the book that I hug and talk to trees, and that when I hug the trees, I receive message from them. I do. It comes telepathically in my mind, messages that I'm precisely needing to hear. And the trees have been guiding my path for a long time. And when I was writing the book, I was like, should I reveal this or not? Are people going to call me nuts if I reveal this? But then I came to the conclusion that it's time. It's time that we break some prejudices and limitations, and that we open up things that exist and that many people experience, not only me, but many people are experiencing this silently, afraid of being judged. And not only this, as you were saying, like you do many different things as well. So the more we talk about it, the more we're going to help to normalize it, because it's going to be beautiful the day, when the day comes where people are hugging trees on the street openly without feeling ashamed at receiving telepathical messages from them, and or exchanging energy or receiving answer to their problems, this kind of thing. So I decided to open it up. And I talked with Saskia, that we met together, and Saskia was like, Karina, it's time to open it up. It's time. And I agree, it's time. So it doesn't matter, when people call us nuts or call us crazy for anything, it's like, oh, all right. I was called crazy so many times in my life. And I am glad I'm talking about this openly, because this needs to be normalized. It's not something,
Bad.
it exists.
I'm
It
so
does.
glad
It's
that
a
you
fact.
said that, because when was the first sort of or can I ask, so moving out of your activism or climate change activism, and still being able to hold the sanctity of your relationship with the Amazon forest, were you able to still keep that sacred safe space for yourself whilst not feeling the pressure and the burden of having to save this thing all by yourself?
100%. 100%. I had to leave the Amazon, I think, um, again, talking openly, one day praying because I couldn't work anymore. I was under the burnout, I think, in the deepest level of it. And I heard inside my mind, it's time to leave so you can keep working for me. So I feel it was the spirit of the rainforest that asked me to leave. And I only left because of this, because I was stubborn enough to continue even under a burnout. So, I've found different ways of keeping working for the Amazon, even when I'm not there, even if I'm not there. Like I've written about the Amazon in my entire book. I've helped, I don't know, organizing protests to stop deforestation in 5 different states of Australia simultaneously, and gave so many talks and taught people in schools and this kind of thing. So I'm not there physically, but I do feel, yes, very connected spiritually to that forest. And I feel that the forest still sees me and loves me and guides me and protects me. So it doesn't matter if I'm not there. I'm carrying the Amazon with me to whatever country I go, to whatever I am in my life. I just don't have anymore the emotional capacity to live there, to see that beautiful treasure of Mother Earth being killed every single day more and more. I don't have that emotional capacity to deal with this level of killing anymore. But I'm here for her, and I will always be. And I say her, yes, her. And I'm not speaking in the wrong English. I'm saying her on purpose, because for me, the Amazon is not an it, it's a being.
Ooh. When how old were you when you sort of figured that this was, you know, that you were going to go on this journey? Like, or when did you stumble along this path of, when did you find the rainforest? How old are you?
26.
26.
26.
I mean,
Mm-hmm.
this is your whole adult journey. This is
Mm-hmm.
your
That's 20 years
whole
ago.
life's purpose. It's incredible.
20
Wow.
years ago. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So let's say, so you're in Portugal now. You've lived in Spain, you've lived in Australia, you've lived in the rainforest. You've done all of this stuff. You are in the space where you're going with the flow as to where the energy might take you and where your skill set might um, land. You wake up tomorrow morning. The universe has answered all your prayers. What does what does it look like? Your prayers are all answered, and you wake up tomorrow morning and you get to live your life exactly in your purpose and exactly to your mission. What does that look like?
It looks like I'm waking up in a beautiful house surrounded by trees and listening to the bird songs and working from home, helping people. This is how it looks like. It's not very sophisticated, but it's all that I wish to live right now. It's to be in a place surrounded by nature, preferably close by a horse. This is how it looks like.
Do you remember one of the phone calls that I think one of the first few phone calls that we had, or the video calls that we had, Karina? We'd had a few, but one of the ones closer to the summit, I was at a gig in Zimbabwe, in Harare, and I was living in a treehouse. Well, I was staying in a treehouse, and I took the phone call from a treehouse, and I had no idea about anything about you at the time. I didn't know about your work with trees, and I didn't know about your work with the forest. And here I was just answering the call from a treehouse. That's so. I just realized that now, how like linked all of these stories were from the very beginning. This is
Mm-hmm.
so cool. Karina, I hope that people can find your information on this site and get touched by your story, and see what it is, the change makers that you work with, the guidance that you do, the coaching that you do, the curation that you do, and can learn to love themselves and find their purpose, and like just get to know you a little bit more. And I just really want to thank you so much for joining us here for this little chat, just a brief little introduction to who you are. Is there anything else that you feel that you want to leave us with today?
Oh, yeah. There is a sentence that I really, really love, and I think it's one of those that guides us through life. It is was shared by a Hopi elder, and he says that we are the ones we've been waiting for. So I would like to leave
Mm.
us with that. We are the ones we've been waiting for, and for those who would like to know a little bit more about myself and my work, my website is www.karina with K Mioto.com. Mioto Mioto.
Fantastic. And I cannot wait for your book to be translated into English so that I can read it. Unfortunately, is that in front of
Yes,
my eyes? Bravo!
this
Okay,
is it.
fantastic. The courage to change, the courage to transform the world. Changemakers, the courage to transform the world. Wow, bravo. So we
Here
made
it is.
a promise to each other that you would get your book. That was very quick. You did that so quick. I'm so proud of you. You did that in less than 6 weeks. Wow, that's amazing. Ah, I feel like crying. Thank you so much. Congratulations. I
Thank
cannot
you.
wait to order my own copy in English that I can read it because I'm sorry, I just don't think I can learn Portuguese today. Just not not today, maybe tomorrow. Bless you, Karina, and thank you so
Oh,
much. And
please.
get her book, read it, connect with yourself, and thank you for transforming the world.
And thank you for bringing joy and healing in so many different aspects to the world as well. Your work is amazing, Nina, and I'm so glad we've met.
Yes, my sister. Bye. Thank you so much for watching. That was Otherwise You Well. That was Karina Miota. That is my friend. Buy her book. Ciao.